Morning, Didge. What's in the tree? What's up there? I heard you barking. What is it? Do you know? What is it? Go get it. No, don't get her. Get it. I don't know, Didge. I might just have to go to work. You can deal with it. My plan for today is to finish up the final tank load with the J&M NitroGrow applicator here, and then I'm going to switch everything over. I'm going to bring the sprayer over, and I'm going to start spraying some soybeans. And I'm all alone on the farm again today, so it might be a little bit slower, but hopefully this applicator thing should go pretty fast. There hasn't been any problems. It tends to go quickly. We'll let the tractor warm up for a few minutes while I load the tank here. It's not going to be a full tank, it's roughly 1,200 gallons, so that tank holds 18, should be pretty quick. If you missed the last video where we set this thing up, you might want to go back and watch that to see exactly what we're doing. But basically, I'm feeding the plants. I'm feeding the corn the nitrogen that they need. The reason we've got a little over 200 acres that needs nitrogen is because we didn't get it down there last fall when I was fighting with that strip tiller and I unhooked the anhydrous tank. That meant we needed to come up with an alternative way of putting nitrogen on. This is our answer right here. Instead of putting gas on, or smoke you might call it, or NH3 anhydrous ammonia, we are now putting on what we call UAN 28% nitrogen, liquid fertilizer. Folding and unfolding with this thing, pretty flawless. Lift the wings out of the cradle, fold them out, takes a second to get going here and build pressure. And once you're all the way out, like that, just extend the wings. It's so easy, the Millennial Farmer can do it. There we go. 237, but I'm pretty sure that number is about 10 acres high because it doesn't, the system with the Raven system, it doesn't account for the swath control, so in a lot of spots it thinks I overlapped when actually I was shutting boom sections off. So I'm gonna fold up here and jump across the road. I've got a couple hundred gallons left, which was on purpose. I'm gonna cut the rate down and just go do some variable rate application on some corn that we've got next to home, and we'll see what that does. You don't want to overdo the nitrogen, so I'm not going to push it too much. I'm just going to put a few pounds in there, a little bit of extra boost to see if it might provide any return on that investment or not. I'm going to go right on the field out here, east of the yard. May as well do it close to home on land that we own. Brent.
Jack.
Hey, quick question for you. I got a couple hundred extra gallons of this 28%, so I'm going to put it on the cornfield right at home.
Yep.
How much do I want to go for a rate? Is 30 pounds an acre too much?
It is, it's supplemental on top of what we've already, our full rate, right? You're talking there?
Yep.
Yeah, I would say 30 pounds is about the minimum you could do to get any kick out of a side dress, I would think.
Oh, okay.
So you're talking maybe 10 gallons, something like that?
Yeah, I've got it set for 11 right now, but I could easily just switch it up to 15 or 20.
No, I'm talking 10 gallons. What are you talking?
10 gallons would be 30 pounds of N or close.
Yeah.
Well, I tried, but I had an issue. I'm having an issue holding correct pressure to be able to go from 48 gallons an acre that I was applying down to the 10, 11 that I want to apply now. And I'm pretty sure, I messaged the engineer who's calling me back right now. I'm pretty sure I got to change orifices. I'm going to go take a look at it, so I'm staring at it while you're telling me about them. Oh, Yeah. Okay. So then they just go, there's a little rubber seal on top of them, and I pull that orifice out and stick it back in there with that rubber seal, I'm assuming. I might even, it might just be quicker for me to add the gallons and dilute it down. So it is an orifice issue. What I've got to do is put a smaller orifice in there going out to the applicators, which will help maintain better pressure with that smaller amount of volume going in there. But instead of doing that, what I'm going to do is actually dilute it down with more water, and then I'm going to go back to the rate I was running, to that 48 or 50 gallons an acre. So I'll just be putting on a lot more water with it, which is just going to be faster than changing out all the orifices. Now, if I had a few hundred acres to go, I would definitely change those orifices so you can cover more ground. But this is only to get, I mean, I have 180 gallons of product left, so this is a one-time deal, and I got to clean this machine and my tanks out anyway, so this will work out just fine. So what I'm doing here is just diluting the fertilizer down and creating, instead of like a 28% nitrogen per gallon, I'm bringing it down to, I'm actually going to try to bring it down to about 9 pounds of nitrogen per gallon. If you're a corn farmer, it makes sense. So I'm just going to apply more product, but it's a very high percentage of water. It's going to be 91% water, essentially, right? All right, let's go hope that this works. So far, we're looking good. We're applying at 30 gallons the acre. Another field that has variable corn in it. A lot of it's a lot taller than the last field, and then we got spots like that where it's just been too wet. There's compaction issues like in this area here, but then you don't have to go very far, and we get much taller corn in spots. That's just a product of planting into the wet soil in the spring and then staying so cold and so wet for so long. Now, we've had a lot of heat lately, but once this corn got planted, we had a couple of weeks where it was really, really cold. There were spots with frost in them for a couple of weeks after we planted. I'm empty. Got about, I don't know, close to half of this field supplemented with 25 to 30 extra pounds of N, so we'll see how that turns out. Obviously some issues right here where it's always too wet, always compacted. I think I'll just keep it parked out of the way down here behind the shed. That way we got more room in the yard, because we don't have a shed up here to put things in. So we got stuff parked everywhere at the moment. All right, first thing I gotta do is run a few gallons in here and rinse this thing out. So Dad cleaned it out after he got done spraying corn with it, but he's got tank cleaner in there. And oddly enough, tank cleaner will kill things. And so that actually goes through and kind of neutralizes everything, as you can imagine. Some of the chemicals, when you switch from corn to beans, it's not going to be a good deal. We don't want to kill our beans, so we want to neutralize those chemicals, get that tank cleaned out. But now I've got to get that soap out of there, so I'm just going to rinse some fresh water through and make sure everything is cleaned out. So this is just straight water going in there now. All I want to do is clean the booms and the tank out. That's it. I've got everything rinsed out here. Now I got to go in and grab a pallet of boxes of chemicals, because we needed a bunch, but not enough that would fill a tote. Plus we can't fit a 4th tote in the trailer, which means we got to use boxes for a couple chemicals. We're going to be blending 5 different chemicals in with this tank, and I'll go through that in a bit here. And before I can get to that tote of chemicals back there, I got to move the old 75 to a different location. Ready for it? Come on. There we go. Don't do that, that's not recommended. I am set up ready to go, but I wanted to go over our tank mix with you and point a couple of things out. Number 1, the first thing I'm putting in. This is AMS Pro from FBN. It's a water conditioner, drift reduction, adjuvant with AMS. I'm going to be putting in a pint per acre of this stuff. Then I'm going to be putting in the clethodim. This is going to take care of our grasses. That AMS Pro, by the way, is really just that. It softens the water, makes it more sticky, makes the solution work a little bit better. It's not a chemical. It helps heat up the chemicals, I guess is the way that I would put it. Next is our corn killer, volunteer corn killer. We don't want the volunteer corn in our soybeans. That is from seed that's left from last year. We've got a lot this year because we had corn that was knocked down so bad last harvest. We weren't able to do a great job of cleaning it up, so we've got a lot of volunteer corn. I'm going to be putting in 5 gallons of this for a 70-acre tank full that I'm doing. That's the second thing I'm putting in. The next one is Roundup. This is a generic Roundup. Ag Saver Glyphosate. Got this also through FBN. FBN provides more than chemicals. They've also got seed, crop insurance, health insurance, price transparency, seed labeling transparency, and it's free to be a member. So there's a link down below. You should check that out. If you're a farmer and you're not a member, you're probably crazy. Then we're going here. This is an S-metallochlor. This is generic dual. That is another herbicide. I'm going to be putting in 11.5 gallons of that per tank load. And then we go over here to our Dow Enlist. It's basically like a 2,4-D. We're going to be mixing in a bunch of that. When you do the math on it, you calculate it all up, it is less than 50 gallons of chemical total in the tank, which is, the tank in the sprayer is 1,000 gallons. So there's less than 50 gallons of chemical. The rest is water, right there, straight water. And that's being spread out over 70 acres. So it is less than a gallon of total chemical over 70 acres. That surprises some people. It's one of the things I like to point out. But now I'm going to mix some stuff, get the water going. I don't want the camera to distract me. I'm going to put on these big old rubber gloves here, wear my safety glasses. These are, technically, these are. And then we'll head out to the field and kill some weeds. Oh, by the way, there's no insecticide in here. This is all 100% weed killer at this point. Tank is full, mixed and full, ready to go. I'll go set my computer to the correct field and we'll go kill some weeds. I'm spraying. Obviously our soybeans are still short. And there's a lot of volunteer corn. It looks like they are a little bit inconsistent, similar to what I was seeing in the corn, but not as much. I mean, I really think the soybeans seem pretty appreciative of all the heat we've had now in the last 10 days. And they're gonna start coming pretty quickly here. It's just, soybeans always look short to me the first, like until August. Well, it wouldn't feed, so the rate was there, but it wasn't actually feeding correctly. So it would read, yeah, it would read the rate, but it wasn't actually feeding. And what we think was going on was it was back pressuring into the tank somehow and actually holding the fertilizer up. So I wondered about putting like a baffle or a blow off on the, yeah, like on the actual applicators at the end of the shank somewhere, so that it can blow the back pressure out there rather than feeding it through the tube and up into the tank. Well, you guys wouldn't believe it, but if you've watched my channel, you know how much of a shocker this might be, or maybe not, but I'm considering making a couple upgrades to the strip till machine and putting myself through that situation again this fall. I think we make a couple more upgrades, I think. And I've thought this before, but we make a couple more upgrades with the boys at Ready up in Fargo, and I get everything set up ahead of time. This year when we're going on soybeans, I'm just gonna maybe have to step away for a day or a day and a half with the strip till rig with no camera and just get everything up and going. Just expect that it's gonna be a long, painful day. And once everything's up and going, we're gonna have that unit completely ready to go, and so that we can hammer out some acres with it. That's what I'm thinking at the moment, but I haven't told Dad that. He's probably gonna watch this and call me right away and tell me I'm an idiot. But the good news is for you guys, it provides content either way. Either things go really well and everything works out great and it's the perfect machine, or it turns out horrible and I almost have an aneurysm again, and it's a good entertainment for you. 70 acres down, tank is empty. I got a whole mile drive home here, fill up and do it again. It's at 15 gallons an acre, it kind of sucks. You only get 70 gallons or 70 acres done, but it is what it is. I don't have anybody home right now to run me the water truck and help me mix the tanks, and otherwise we'd have them at the end of the field here. We could toss it in there pretty quickly and get going again, but honestly, 2/3 or 3/4 of our ground is so close to home anyway that half the time it's just as fast to run the sprayer back home. Sure is nice this time of year when everything starts to green up though. Load 2, let's hit it. Once you got everything worked out, you got your math worked out and your measurements figured out and everything else calculated, just do the same thing over and over until your acres are covered. You see that? I don't know if the camera picks that up or not, but our GPS is completely losing track of us. So I'm not running on auto steer right now because the auto steer is basically spinning in a slow circle thinking that I'm crab walking sideways and backwards with this thing. And it's really screwing a lot of things up. It doesn't keep me straight on the row at all. And that's a problem we've had with this receiver, which is a pretty new 6,000 receiver. It's about 1.5 years old, and it's been a real problem actually. It was a problem last year in the combine. It's a problem right now. Dad had an issue. I've tried getting a hold of Dad to see what he did before. See if it holds us on the line here on these point rows. But his phone must be dead or something because he's not answering. But I'm gonna have to go back. When I go back, which I'm almost empty now, I'm going to switch receivers and hopefully that'll help. I'll have to recalibrate it a little bit, but look at this. Look at this line here from last time I came down the row. Hopefully the camera picks that up, but what a mess. It's like it just completely loses track of where it's at in space. I can drive 30 miles per hour with this down the road. That's pretty nice. How about that? Reloaded the tank and changed the GPS receiver in a single snap. That was a double snap? Double play maybe? Everybody's out spraying today. I've lost count, but I would guess I've seen roughly 1 billion sprayers go by in our county just today. That does it for the third tank full of the day. A little over 200 acres done so far. It's just after 8 o'clock now, so I'm gonna head back. I've got a little longer drive heading back for this one. Put some diesel in, get some stuff ready for tomorrow. I think I'll just start early tomorrow because it's supposed to be a little bit windier tomorrow, but not right away in the morning. It's gonna be 9 o'clock by the time I would have this loaded up anyway, and then by the time I get halfway through that tank, it's gonna be dark. So I'll just get everything as ready as I can so that I can get an early start tomorrow. And it looks like the neighbor's in about the same position.